So what do you guys think about the family, our core family, their relationships with each other, things like that in the film?
Those who sin together live together.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Like, and that's the interesting thing too, because the family in this story used to live wealthily in England, and just the fact of dysfunction, the fact of dysfunction and the family, like, makes the story so much more compelling.
And I feel like the dysfunction of this family is created and informed by their religion.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like there is a dysfunctional religion that's being passed down to the parents, that's being passed down to the kids. This harshness, this ridiculous level of self-discipline,
Mm-hmm.
this idea of you're all sinners and you have no self-worth, and I feel like that's that's a very American.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we have a lot of the wrong kinds of Christians here, unfortunately, and they really pass on some distorted values, I feel like.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's almost the American standard, for half our population, like people my age, like my generation is being taught these things, that they're just so so distorted, and whether it be Christian, Jewish, Muslim, or just political ideals in general, and this family in this story, I think.
Afraid?
Yeah, they were afraid.
Afraid to the point of obscene levels of paranoia.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Going back to the historical context of it all, with the Salem witch trials, like many decades after the story of the witch took place, there's just so much paranoia that it's just basically unforeseen.
The funny thing is, from like our long distance standpoint, looking at this family and their religion from the outside, the thing that struck me was, when they're all saying grace over the dinner, and the dad says something along the lines of, we are not worthy of you, keep us afraid of you, to their God.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of a relationship can you have with a deity that wants you to be afraid constantly?
Who says in the Bible, like, I'm a jealous God, an angry God, who wants people to fear him, who is fine with torturing people, psychologically and physically? Yeah. I know for me, like you were kind of talking about shame and how it's ingrained in people, and there was so much shame in my life growing up that I didn't even realize that's what it was. I remember going to a counselor at one point and being like, okay, my main problems are depression and fear. And he was like, I want you to read this book called Letting Go of Shame, because I think this comes from shame. And it really was. I mean, it was just so, it came from religion. It came from ideas about sexuality, ideas about like social, capitalism and social functioning. It came from, my notions about sexuality and gender. It came from so many different things. And it was, for me, there was so much more shame, I think, than there were even more other people in that religious system, because I was kind of forced to. I didn't identify as Christian, but I was forced to be Christian. Go through the motions at a young age. It came from who I was as a person who was different. It came from someone who's pansexual, as someone who's socialist, as someone who's pagan and polyspiritual, as someone who just saw life very differently than how other people did. And that paranoia you were talking about, it seems to be so often directed at the other, right?
Yeah.
Wilderness and the people that live there, and native persons, and people of different religions and different value systems and things. I think a lot of that is rooted in Christianity and our culture, even to the point possibly that there are people being raised by families that are ostensibly atheist or barely Christian or whatever, or it could be other religious systems, especially the monotheistic ones. That shame's being pushed on them, even if they're not overtly Christian, even if they don't go to church every week. That's such a part of our culture, and because shame is such a part of our culture, I think that's why pride is such a part of our culture, as we'll discuss later in this. Do you guys have anything else about family? Including, do you have any comments about like the relationships within the family?
Thomason seems to be the only one who isn't actively out to get someone.
Yeah.
I mean, apart from her reaction to Mercy being a little shit.
Right, yeah.
But that's your standard reaction when any little kid
That's
is being
sister,
a little
that's a big sister reaction.
Yeah.
I felt like that Thomas and Caleb really cared about each other.
Yeah.
Maybe that they. I felt like Mercy and Jonas were their own little unit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not that they weren't loved or anything, but they were just kind of separate. They did separate games, and they didn't work yet like the others did, and
they were their own little separate entity pair, and Caleb and Thomason were like both perspective characters.
Yeah.
And she would have been the oldest born, and then when Caleb was born, she probably would have taken care of him a lot of the time. So I think that may be where that relationship was fostered.
Yeah, she seems more like the mom to him even than their own mom. The mom in the family very much doesn't seem like a mom to any of her kids.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think about Mom and Dad, Will and Kate? Do you feel like they love each other, or it was more of a we kind of had to get married, or because you had even suggested?
It seems like it wasn't a marriage out of love. It could have been an arranged marriage because they seem like they were wealthier in England.
Yeah.
And it also could have been like, depending on what went on, we don't know their history, but something with the way the mom talks to him and, just Kate keeps throwing these barbs at Will, like he's, done things in the past that he should be ashamed of, that might have forced them to come here because they had a good life back in England, she says.
And she wants to go back so bad, right? She begs to go back. And that's, I think, in the same general scene where she talks about the dream of Christ and being ravished by his love, and she kind of throws at the end that, it was so much kinder, it was so much better than what the kindest husband could offer.
That phrasing, though, ravished.
Right, yes.
So maybe Will did something to her that he shouldn't have, and the consequence was Thomason.
Interesting, it could be.
And then, because they were stuck with one kid, they ended up having more kids that Kate is not attached to.
Yeah. Well, except Samuel.
Yeah, except
Samuel.
Samuel.
And Caleb, I think, but you wonder, how, is she more attached to Caleb when he's dying than at other times?
She seems
or
so.
Samuel even.
I noticed.
Seems like it.
I noticed that the only time that there's touching in the family is when she forehead kisses Thomason when she's asked her to do something for her.
Yeah.
Or when Caleb dies.
Yeah.
And
Father hugs Thomason after Kaylin dies, and I remember thinking, this is the first love that they've shown. She has, I think, touched him before when she takes his clothes off.
But that was weird.
That was weird.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, even Will was like having this weird when Kate told Thomason, take your dad's clothes off and go wash them, he was like even giving her a weird look, like. But, the only time Kate, other than the quick peck on the forehead, touches Thomason is after Thomason kills her.
Right.
Yeah.
where Thomasin is hugging her.
And I'll talk a little bit about that more. But do you have anything else about family relationships?
It's not unlike anything that I would think like that it's it's not unlike anything that I would ever picture of the dystopian dysfunctional Puritan Puritan family that is forced to obey these Christian laws that they